Have you ever wondered how a belief that literally defies 2 millennia of established science actually manages to thrive in our hyper-connected digital age? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack the fascinating interplay of amateur science, human psychology, and those incredibly powerful algorithmic echo chambers that are fueling the modern flat Earth movement.
Here is our roadmap for the breakdown. We'll kick things off with a tale of two realities, move into trusting your own eyes, then explore distrust and the ice wall, venture down the algorithmic rabbit hole, and finally wrap up with the post-truth era.
All right, part 1, a tale of two realities. Let's look at these contrasting worldviews. We are dealing with two completely, totally divergent realities here. On one side, we have the scientifically proven globe, right? This is an understanding that dates way back to the 6th century BC, when Pythagoras first taught the Earth was spherical. It was later backed up by Aristotle when he observed the Earth's curved shadow during a lunar eclipse. But then, on the flip side, we have the modern flat Earth model. Picture a flat disk with the North Pole smacked in the center, covered by a protective firmament dome, and bounded at its outer edges by this massive 150-foot-high wall of ice known as Antarctica. It is quite literally a snow globe cosmology.
Think about it. To maintain that flat model, the established scientific rulebook essentially has to be tossed out and entirely rewritten. You can't exactly have a flat disk without denying gravity, right? So gravity is completely dismissed and replaced with concepts like density or buoyancy. And when believers are confronted with photographic evidence of the globe from space, the argument is that agencies like NASA are just relying on heavy CGI and massive compartmentalization to fake the whole thing. Basically, every single scientific hurdle is met with a very specific, alternative explanation.
Moving on to part 2, trusting your own eyes, the role of amateur observations. If we trace the timeline of these amateur observations, we actually see a really clear, continuous thread stretching from 19th century river experiments all the way up to modern documentary tests. There's this deeply rooted tradition in the movement of relying solely on one's own senses. It's a kind of extreme do-it-yourself empiricism, where you only trust what's right in front of you.
A massive, foundational moment for this happened back in 1838. A man named Samuel Robotham conducted what's known as the Bedford Level Experiment. He stood and watched a boat row 6 miles away down this perfectly straight river in England. Because he could still see the boat's mast the entire time, he concluded the Earth absolutely had no curvature. But here's the catch: he didn't account for atmospheric refraction. If you don't happen to know that the density of air decreases with height and actually bends light downwards, well, looking across a flat lake genuinely makes a flat horizon seem perfectly logical. Your eyes are telling you the truth, but your physics equation is just missing a critical variable.
Now, modern believers still conduct their own tests, which was famously captured in the 2018 documentary Behind the Curve. One group used this highly sensitive ring laser gyroscope, fully expecting it to prove the Earth was stationary. But instead, the device accurately detected the Earth's 15-degree-per-hour rotation. Yet, incredibly, instead of accepting that, the result was rationalized away as the device picking up the rotation of the firmament dome above them. The takeaway here is that when modern experiments accidentally prove the Earth is round, the results are immediately reinterpreted or just dismissed entirely to protect that core underlying belief.
Let's dive into part 3, distrust and the ice wall.
Check out this quote from a prominent Flat Earth forum. "We are like fish in an aquarium. Wake up from the deception." I think this perfectly hits the nail on the head regarding the psychological appeal of conspiratorial ideation. It highlights this really profound human desire to belong to an awakened minority, a group that sees right through a massive global lie. It essentially transforms the believer from just an average citizen into a hero in this grand cosmic drama who has uncovered the ultimate hidden truth. And of course, in any good drama, you absolutely need an antagonist. Believers argue that the United Nations and space agencies actively patrol and guard the Antarctic ice wall to prevent anyone from falling off the edge or discovering what lies beyond it. This intense, deep-seated distrust of institutions completely transforms governments and scientists into malevolent actors. It becomes this epic, dramaturgical clash between light and darkness, truth and deception.
So why do people actually hold on to these theories? Understanding these motives is super essential. Research shows that conspiracy narratives actually provide a sense of security and control in what feels like a very chaotic world. Plus, they foster a tightly knit community. You also have to add in this strong streak of anti-intellectual egalitarianism, which is basically this empowering idea that anyone can discover the ultimate truth without needing formal education or elite credentials. And let's be real, recent global events like the COVID-19 pandemic have only deepened this widespread societal suspicion of authority.
Okay, on to part 4, the algorithmic rabbit hole. How our digital architecture plays into all of this.
To really grasp how this spreads today, we have to look at two specific phenomena. First is algorithmic curation, which is basically the automated way platforms decide what you see based on your past clicks. And second is epistemic isolation, which happens when you become entirely cut off from credible or diverse sources of knowledge. These concepts are absolutely critical because they explain how our technology actively filters reality, subtly placing us into these highly personalized information bubbles without us even realizing it's happening.
This kicks off what we call a radicalization loop. Let's say a user clicks on a controversial video just out of pure curiosity. The platform's algorithm, which is literally designed only to maximize your engagement and watch time, immediately serves up more of the exact same thing. Then, the user's natural confirmation bias kicks in, eagerly accepting information that aligns with this new worldview. Eventually, this leads right down the funnel into complete epistemic isolation, trapping users in a digital echo chamber where they're only ever served content reinforcing that the Earth is flat.
What's really fascinating here is that the actual plumbing, the very design of a platform, dictates how easily an echo chamber forms. Studies analyzing millions of pieces of content show that on platforms built entirely around friend networks like Facebook and Twitter, information tends to stay locked within really tight ideological loops. But platforms organized around specific topics, like Reddit, actually expose users to far more outside information. It's a massive reminder to constantly consider how our own daily feeds are being curated by the platforms we scroll through.
Finally, part 5, the post-truth era and the breakdown of a shared reality.
Look, the Flat Earth movement is really just the canary in the coal mine for a much larger epistemological crisis. The exact same algorithmic filter bubbles and psychological distrust that can convince someone the Earth is flat are the very same forces driving political polarization and social division all over the globe. We're witnessing the breakdown of a shared, agreed-upon reality. And while researchers do note that much of our data on this comes from weird societies, meaning Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic, the core issue is universally human. Algorithmic homophily, birds of a feather flocking together online, fundamentally threatens our ability to find common ground.
I really want to leave you with this one thought today. If our digital spaces are engineered to continually validate our pre-existing beliefs, how can a society ever function cohesively? How do we ever agree on what is real? Because understanding exactly how misinformation thrives, whether it's through sensory deception, psychological needs, or digital echo chambers, is the vital, absolute first step in reclaiming our shared reality. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, stay curious.